The Quantity Surveyor, a presentation from Duncan Cartledge Online. It's 5 years since Duncan Cartledge Online went live, so I thought I'd take a look at how far the QS has come over the past 200 years or so. We have to go back to the early 1800s, when Napoleon was rampaging through Europe to find the origins of the QS. So real was the threat to the UK that the government ordered the country to prepare its defences. The chief line of defence was to build a line of gun emplacements along the south coast in Kent, from Hythe in the north to Dungeness in the south. The idea was to blow the Frenchies out of the water as they came across the channel. The gun emplacements, known as Mortello Towers, can still be seen today. Some have even been converted into houses. These structures are substantial and would take time to build. Each tower, around 74 were built between 1805 and 1808, required about 250,000 bricks, a colossal quantity to produce and transport. Remember, this is prior to all the transport and communication aids we just take for granted today. No telephone, email, transportation, etc. You just had to hope the carrier pigeon didn't get shot and put in the pot. At this time, UK construction procurement, like the rest of Europe, was via separate trades. But because there was no time to plan and design the towers, contractors were allowed to measure and value for settlement by fair valuation. It was also found much quicker to use a single builder rather than separate trades. General contracting had arrived. Of course, Napoleon never crossed the Channel, and by 1815 the Mortello Towers became redundant. In the years that followed, two prestigious projects were commissioned: Windsor Castle and Buckingham Palace, procured using separate trades. However, both projects suffered cost overruns and claims, and an inquiry recommended an end to separate trades in favour of general contracting. About the same time, architects, who were getting fed up with having to measure and value works, decided to expel the surveyors from their professional institute so that they could concentrate on the Beaux-Arts. In 1834, the House of Commons was rebuilt based on a detailed design and bills of quantities, and let to a general contractor. Now, although the final account was double the original budget, most of this was down to variations, and it was seen overall as a vindication for general contracting and quantity surveyors. General contracting became the norm in the UK, while many countries still use separate trades. The quantity surveyor had arrived, and remains virtually unique to the UK and ex-Commonwealth countries, although bills of quantities in some form are used worldwide. The golden age for the quantity surveyor was the immediate post-Second World War period, rebuilding the bomb-damaged infrastructure and wide-scale slum clearance. The RICS scale of fees was generous, bills of quantities were widely used, and competition between RICS practices was disallowed on the basis that clients were only interested in the quality of the service and not the cost. How did they get away with it? But all good things come to an end. The golden age couldn't last. The Conservative government introduced CCT, compulsory competitive tendering, in 1980, and practices were forced to compete for the first time for public sector work, a practice which soon transferred to the private sector. Fees were slashed, and the RICS scale of fees was binned. By the early 1990s, bills of quantities were perceived to be expensive, resource-hungry, and unnecessary, and design and build became the flavour of the month. Construction and the rest of the world economy fell into a deep recession that lasted almost 6 years. QS fees had become unsustainable, resulting in wide-scale mergers and acquisitions. Towards the end of the millennium, the quantity surveyor's very existence was under fire, as we were enthusiastically attacked from all sides. And so, to 2025. The good news is that despite recessions, the doommongers, and our arrogance and lack of interpersonal skills, the quantity surveyor is alive and thriving, and the market for the QS remains very buoyant for the foreseeable future. Thanks for watching. Here's to the next 5 years.